the first month of YouTube, what I learned is like YouTube is not a cakewalk.
Once you, as you said, you put this information out there that the algorithm or the machine is just going to thrust your videos out into the atmosphere and people are just going to see them. And that's just not how it works. One of the reasons that we made this channel was to dispel some of the misinformation that's out there about cybersecurity and, you know, where people make it seem like it's so easy to break into, or that once you break into it, 6 and 7 figures are easy to obtain. And that's just not the case. So that's what's going on, Tech fam? It is Just My Tech Sense, and I am with us Tech, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Johnnie Tech. What's up, Tech fam?
Johnnie Tech, and once again, we are Just My Tech Sense. That ain't it.
There we go. We got it. We got it together.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. It's been a little while since we've actually got together. When it comes to this whole YouTube thing, and yeah, so today we want to talk about our first month on YouTube. Obviously, this is being filmed after our first month, but we have been able to publish videos on YouTube for a little over a month now. We just want to talk about our experience and how much of a roller coaster it's been.
Right. No, so, yeah, definitely, man. We can get into it, like, you know, just jumping in right away. Like, for me, the first month of YouTube, what I learned is like YouTube is not a cakewalk, right? You know, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of strategy you have to get to. It's not like, hey, a lot of people are doing that, I guess. Like, they're getting into it, like they're doing what they enjoy on YouTube, and they're like making videos and, you know, making content. But to be seen, to really be seen, you know, there's a lot of work that you have to do. And like a lot of people, you know, I was looking at it like, okay, you know, we're putting information out. People to find it, but being found is it's not easy. Yeah,
I mean, it's one of those things where you feel like once you, as you said, you put this information out there that the algorithm or the machine is just going to thrust your videos out into the atmosphere and people are just going to see them, and that's just not how it works. And sometimes it seems that way, right? Based on some of the videos that we have, like we've had views of, you know, over 500, 600, and then we've had views under 30. So it's like
it is almost like, so you sit there and like you do your research, and, you know, like I've been looking up different strategies, you know, to help us be seen. And, you know, there are different strategies, but what you're learning is like certain strategies I believe is going to work for certain niches that you're in, and other ones that may not, they may not fit, right? So it's some universal strategies, some not, and you're just working and trying to find out what works. Like there probably is something out there, but like in our first month, like my mind's like there's no rhyme or reason to tell us like, you know, what's gonna hit, like, oh, this is gonna be a great video. We did a good job. Yeah. Everything looks good. You put it out and you're like, okay, that was 50 views. Okay. Yeah. And you put out something else, like maybe, and then that gets 500, 600, and you're like, I wonder what the difference was. And then same work, put in the same work, you know, into the video. Yeah. But you get different results.
Yeah, and I think what we learned is sometimes it's title, sometimes it's thumbnail, you know, just based on the 5 or 6 videos that we put out there. And at the point of this airing, it actually might be more than 5 or 6, just depending on when we drop this. But what I have learned is, you know, especially with the CrowdStrike one, it's like when we first did the CrowdStrike one, we tried to strike when the iron was hot, when the actual event occurred. But we were a few days behind just due to, you know, you were out of town at the time, and we weren't able to record. But just due to us not getting out there like when it hit, and then these larger channels had already covered it. So us being a smaller channel, we just didn't get any play. We didn't get any love from YouTube. So, you know, we really didn't get any views. So what we ended up doing was changing our title, right? We took Microsoft out, we took CrowdStrike out, and we just said that basically the tech industry is going to become harder, much harder to, you know, break into. And then we just had the CrowdStrike title. But we never put the keyword CrowdStrike or Microsoft, and we actually ended up getting like 500 to 600 views on that video. So just that change in the title made a world of difference as far as the exposure that YouTube gave it. So one of the things I thought you did was smart was you said, you put in the search bar CrowdStrike and Microsoft, and you're like, our stuff's not even coming up.
Right. It was like,
it's like we gotta
definitely change. I was like, man, I'm going through like 10 or 15 pages. I was like, we're not showing up in the search engine at all. I was like, they're not going to find us, So I was like, so that's one thing I was looking at, and it was like when I saw that we had that incident happen, and then I was just looking on YouTube and other, Googling different things as far as strategy. And it's like you really have to drill down into what your topic is going to be. So okay, we most of what we're talking is tech, but what part of tech are we talking about? So I think that's something that we're working, and so like I said, it all depends on what content you're putting out as well. From what I'm seeing from our first month.
I don't know if I totally agree with what you're saying as far as niching down. I just think, again, like we're in competition with other channels, period, right? So when you have larger channels, YouTube might promote smaller channels, but again, they're a platform that wants to keep all eyes on them. So if they have these larger channels that are covering them, and let's say 13 to 14, 15 larger channels cover the same subject that we do, and they already had the audience, then they may not push ours as much as they may push the others. So I don't know if it's necessarily, I didn't learn that from that instance, but strategy is a big thing that I am starting to learn. And for me, it isn't necessarily like the numbers are an indication to me as to what YouTube is pushing, because it feels like that YouTube pushes us for 2 days and then we just stop.
Yeah,
like the numbers just stop.
Right. Like, hey, you guys got your fill.
Right.
We got some other guys that need to get their stuff out. I'm definitely seeing that. I'm like, oh man, we're moving.
Yeah, and then just stops.
Yeah.
For no rhyme or reason outside of it's just not being pushed to people that might be interested in what we have to talk about. So then we also, on top of that, do the YouTube Shorts.
Right.
And we use that, and we, do a 15-second, 30-second highlight clip that goes back into the video that we, put out on Wednesdays, because that's when we publish on Wednesdays at 4 o'clock. So we also do shorts on Friday and Sunday that would link back to our videos in the event that YouTube just says, we're not pushing this anymore. We put out another video with the link to to
what that is. So that's like, I think everything I'm gonna talk about now is like, so I guess it would have to, like, I wrote down a couple of things that I was thinking about that I learned from YouTube, but I think as we're having the conversation, everything I'm thinking about is definitely all strategy, right? So when I'm saying it's strategy, I'm thinking about the times that we drop, because I noticed like when we do put something out, if I'm noticing like, okay, if we put it out at a different time, what are the results? So I've seen that as well. Like maybe we put out a short at a particular time, and then we drop it again at a different time. The traction can sometimes be different.
Yeah.
I'm even paying attention now to like, okay, if it's a scheduled drop versus we just publish it right away.
Right.
I'm looking at all the effects, because I think all that may play a role. It may not, but I'm definitely paying attention to it, because I feel like it's a, when we are dealing with the algorithm, right? So we don't know what it's pulling or what data it's actually looking for. So you just got to try different things. And I think that's more where my mindset is too.
Yeah. I also think we need to make more searchable content, use YouTube just like Google. So how to break into cybersecurity, how to pass the Security Plus exam, how to, when people actually type how to do something, our video should pop up. So that's something that we're going to lean into in the future, as far as trying to make sure that we have searchable content on top of this content here, where we're just talking about the industry and some of the things that we think. Because one of the reasons that we made this channel was to kind of, dispel some of the misinformation that's out there about cybersecurity, and, where people make it seem like it's so easy to break into, or that once you break into it, 6 and 7 figures are easy to obtain. And that's just not the case. So that's one of the reasons that, we made this channel, because again, at the end of the day, whether we make money on this channel or not is not my concern. I have a very nice job that I enjoy, so I'm not going anywhere, and YouTube is not, from what I'm seeing, it's not super consistent as far as what they're willing to push. And right now, we're behind the machine. So,
like, we can also say, like, YouTube is also not one of those things where you're gonna get rich quick.
Yeah,
So it's another
right.
misconception. Like, get on YouTube, talk about what you do, start creating content. It's the new thing.
It's not the new thing, but
as far as like careers wise, like I have a lot of people that I know, they're always talking about, oh, I want to be a content creator. So that's like a new wave as far as a career. But it's not an easy career. It's like you still have to put the same amount of work in as if you were doing a 9 to 5 or if you're running a business.
Probably more work.
Right, because it's not like it's work. YouTube is work, so. Yeah,
and you can't count on AdSense. So if the only thing that you want to do is make videos and then count on AdSense, again, it's just super inconsistent. And I can't talk to it from our standpoint because, again, we're just getting started.
Right.
But from the research that I've done, the videos that I've watched, it is just not super consistent as far as you being able to count on, the amount of money that you're going to make. So there's affiliate links and all these other things that you're going to have to make sure that you envelop into your content in order to actually be successful. So, starting a class, trying to sell that class. And again, it's just a matter of, it is a lot of work, and it's not just, truly on the surface, sit behind a mic, and film, and then the money's just going to start rolling in. So right. I know that, content creation is not a new thing, but there is a lot of, I think a lot of refocus on, quitting a 9 to 5 and then actually, becoming a full-time content creator. And right. I'm here to say, don't quit your job. Don't
right away. Not right away.
Yeah, don't quit your job, man. It is not like, this part is fun, but behind the scenes, when I'm up at 1, 2 in the morning editing, that ain't fun, right? And even like having a partner, this is probably easier than doing it alone. But at the same time, your partner's idea of the way that things should go and the way you think things should go may be different. So then it requires compromise, right? It's just like a marriage. So, Johnnie and I, we get into it a lot as far as the way that we should go with certain things.
Boxing it out, man.
And I mean, just the way that I am, like, I'm not the easiest to necessarily partner with, and Johnnie he'll probably be the first to tell you that.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys.
I have super high expectations. I don't mind failing, but at the end of the day, it's all about success. So I know that failure comes with it, but I plan on succeeding, right. no matter what happens. So
that's what I was going to ask you. But it's funny that you already kind of answered my question before I even got into it. Because we're just talking about how hard the work is, how much we have to do, and how long it's going to take before we may even start reaching to where we're monetized.
Yeah,
it's like, how do you feel about that? Is it something like do you want to give up?
No, and the thing is, one, I don't believe in giving up. I don't believe in giving up. Two. Like, I know you call me. So again, if we can talk about our partnership, Johnnie thinks that I am a pessimist.
Yes.
And Johnnie is truly an optimist. He really is. I am a realist, and I know that this is not easy. So when we get 21 views on the video, I'll text Johnnie and say, "Hey man, we crushing it. 21 views." And I'm trying to gauge how he's feeling, because the views don't move me.
Right.
Again, I just use them as analytics, but they don't move me as far as my motivation to get this done. I know that at the end of the day, I can get this done just based on who I am and how my drive is designed. So right. I know I'm going to get it done. It's not going to deter me, but I got to make sure that my partner is good. And again, I'm not him. He is him. He knows how he feels, but I want to gauge, where he is at. But I've never once said, I'm going to give up. Now, I will say that we have had conversations where, Johnny's like, yo, you can't give up. And I'm like, I'm not going to give up. However, this partnership might shift, right? And I'm just being totally honest. But again, it's just the way that I am wired. I'm always go, go, go. And Johnnie has probably a better balance than I do when it comes to, work life. And not saying that he doesn't work hard. Again, I probably overwork, and again, I'm sure that is.
Y'all hear it out?
Huh?
No, I'm just saying. I hear what you're saying. I think that's one thing that we're working towards for YouTube anyway, because it's a full creation of working our minds together and getting to a certain lane. Yeah. So I definitely think I'm optimistic about what we're doing. So you definitely are. You have your mindset. We're you have 21 views. We're gonna keep it moving. I see it. I'm like, okay, we're still pounding the pavement. We're still working. I'm like, okay, 21 views. Let's get 30 next time, or just keep pushing. I'm like, okay, that's better than what we did. So that's how I look at it. I was like, okay, if we did better than we did yesterday, we're moving into the right direction. My mindset is already there, like we're gonna blow up. That's how I already see it. Like this video, I'm looking at every video we make is the next video that's gonna go viral, right? So that's just my mindset. You got to believe it.
And that is optimistic, but it's not realistic.
Right, man.
Right? Not every video is going to blow up, and it's not that I'm being pessimistic. I'm being realistic, right? And
hey, man, it's just like every game I played, I'm like, I'm dropping 30 tonight. I used to say I'm 30. That game, 0.
Right.
But I was like, the next game, I'm like, I'm still getting 30.
Again, as long as that doesn't bring down your motivation and drive to get after it, then cool, right? Because we've gone from 600 to 500 to 30 views, and again, the views cannot move you,
right.
And if it does, then you're gonna have a hard time in this field, because again, you cannot control that. So. Right. At the end of the day, like, it's not anything that moves me, and I'll continue to press forward until I feel like I don't enjoy this anymore. And it's not the views that'll make me say I don't enjoy doing this. But again, at the end of the day, this isn't a money play for me. So I'm not selling you on anything at this point. Now, when we become successful, I may, sell the course. I don't know. But right now, I don't feel like selling a course. I just want to put out information that I feel is accurate when it comes to cybersecurity. So but what I've also learned too with this niche is, cybersecurity, it ain't for everybody, right. So it's not for the entire population. So we may not get millions of views when it comes to cybersecurity. It's rare that you see that. You do have your network chucks and things like that where they're getting millions of views, but again, that's not that's not most times what you'll see.
Right. No, and those guys, they've been around for a long time, and we don't know how much work they're putting in. I would assume a lot, because just to get to that level is, I feel like it's a lot of work that has to be put in. Yeah. And one thing I know, we're still talking about what we learned on YouTube, but something I learned is, like, I actually enjoyed this. As we've been making more videos, doing more content, I'm like, okay, I actually like what I'm doing. I like getting on here, and I'm thinking about who are we reaching, right? So I'm thinking about myself when I was 18, 19, going through college, like, the information that I'm almost talking to my younger self, in a sense. Like, here's some things that I want to know and things that I wanted to learn. And if I would have had someone telling me this, I would have been so much further on. So I enjoy to be able to come here, have a conversation with my guy Will, and we laugh about some things, but we also getting information out, to the people that I think that is really informative. Yeah. So I just need YouTube to drop us an algorithm, man. Yeah,
YouTube ain't showing us no love. But you know what? Again, I think YouTube also wants us to prove ourselves, right? And we've been consistent, but it's just one of those things where, again, there are other people that have been consistent for a lot longer, and they have the audience, they have the eyes. So, at some point, we got to figure out what makes us, and that attracts people to want to watch us. And again, that's a part of the fun for me. Like, this entire process, I'm actually enjoying the process and the strategy, and trying to say, okay, this maybe didn't work, but let's try it this way. And as Johnny said, like, I put a lot of money into this because, again, I know me, right? And as you can see, there is a new sign on the board, Just My Tech Cents, right? Again, this whole studio right here, again, I believe that this is going to work. Now, whether or not we make money, it doesn't.
We're gonna make money. We're gonna be millionaires.
That's not my drive, right? And I feel like I'll make millions elsewhere, because again, you can make millions on, well, you can invest, right, and you can save, and you can. Most people have a spending problem, right? But a lot of people make enough money to do well. They just don't invest. They don't save, and again, our 6-figure salaries. If we're doing well, if we're doing right by ourselves, then we'll be okay. So, again, I'm blessed in other areas, and this is right now just a hobby. And at some point, maybe it turns into more than just a hobby. But
that's go
ahead.
No, I'm just saying. See, that's where I look at it. I like what he says, but that's where my optimism comes in at. Because like anything that I put my hands in or step into, I'm already thinking. I'm always thinking like the highest level we can get to. And I think you're thinking about it as well. But I just speak it. Everything that I want, I try to, just speak it into existence and just talk about it. So, I don't even say like, I'm looking at this now as it's a hobby, but at the same time, I'm working it like it's a job. So, we're gonna make things happen. And
I work this more like a job than you do.
Nah, man.
Right? Yes,
I'm always working like a job.
Stop. So, and here's the thing too, right? Again, like I can appreciate Johnny calling me out, and he thinks that I'm, pessimistic when it comes to some things. When you look at this as a business and you say, you know what, man, it's been a year and we ain't made no money, right? Then that's a failing business. When you look at this as a hobby and it stays a hobby and something that you like to do, if you start making money, it's a byproduct of the pleasure that you get in actually, doing the process, right? This hobby. So when it's still enjoyable and you're not like focused on the money aspect of it, because again, once money becomes involved, now you might want to hire a team, right? There are other outliers that come along with this in order to scale.
Yeah.
But for me right now, it's like, I enjoy this. So I do this. And again, just like working out, I enjoy working out, and a byproduct of working out is that you are healthy and that, you're aesthetically pleasing, right? There's plenty that...
Got to work that like a job too, though.
You
gotta
work
get
it.
You got to get up. You got to go.
But if you don't enjoy it, then it's hard to do.
Yeah.
And if there's that pressure of, I need to get to 10% body fat, right? That may weigh on you if you're 20% body fat and you can't seem to get it down. Right? How many times have you said, man, I'm stuck, man. Now I can't lose any more weight. I can't gain any more weight. Like,
right. I mean, it happens, but you got to have that mindset of like, it's not happening right now. You got to flip the switch and say, okay, well.
But you don't always do that, man.
You don't always do it, but you have to have
that.
You have to have that mindset. It's all a mindset thing, man.
But you make it sound so easy, and that it's not.
I know it's not easy. Listen, right. But the reason I make it sound easy is based on, that's what drives me. Because if you say, it's hard, it's stressing me out, you might like if it's weighing on you that hard, you probably should give up. That's my mindset. It's like, but to me, I don't put that stress on myself. I'm like, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna make it happen, and that's just how it goes. It's nothing out there that I feel like I can't reach, right? So that's what I'm gonna say. If I try 100 times and I fail 99, or I fail 100, I'm like, well, 101, I'm gonna make it.
So, okay.
And that's just the mindset. So I could fail 1,000 times, but no one can tell me that I would be.
And you should
that I will
fail,
right?
And you should go for failure, right? I mean, the
right.
more you fail, the chances of success is going to be higher. So you should fail, but the thing is here, right? And again, you can call me what you want to call me and call me out. I'm cool with it. I'm going to call you out too, right? And again, it's like,
I like it.
Yeah. So again, like I know you, you know me, right? And there are things that are harder, right? That we can sit here and look at the camera and say, yeah, these things are easy. You should do this. You should do this. But it's hard. And even for us, right? There are things like if we talk about like having a 6-pack, right? Like that is a goal of yours, right?
Right.
But there are things that are getting in the way of that, right? That still continue to this day to get in the way of that, right? So again, it's not about, I just want to keep it a buck with everybody. This stuff's hard, right? Yeah. Testing for a CISSP, like especially when you failed it a few times, it's hard, right? And a lot of people are like, I can't get it. It's like, no, you can. You have to continue to try and continue to, if you fail, you fail, but continue to get up and get after it, and one day you'll succeed. But it's easier said than done. And I just want to make sure that as we are having these conversations, that we don't get to the point where we're not relatable, where we're just hitting these milestones all the time. And again, for me, it's like, I don't want that pressure of making this a business. If the money comes, that's great.
Right.
But if I let that cloud the way that I am making content, as far as like, whether things are clickbait or, whatever, then for me, that's just not how I want to do things.
Now, I understand what you're saying as far as how we're doing things. And I actually agree with you. Like, I don't think the essence of what we're doing will change. Like, I think, and that's one thing too, I always think that that's why our partnership works well, because we have the same goal. Yeah. We have the same goal in mind, but I think the way we think about getting there would just be different, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think that that's a good thing of what we have, and I think that's where the balance definitely comes in at, right? So, like, my mind is always going to just still think about, I'm pretty much just a positive thinker. That's how I have to be. Because if I go into any negative thought, it slows me down. So I'm like, nah, we're going to push forward. Yeah. We're making things happen. So, like, that's kind of the way we attack it. And then business-wise, I hear what you're saying. Like, not, if you're not looking at it as a business, it can take some pressure off. Like, because, you enjoy it. Like, so I enjoy it too. But the reason I'm thinking business wise because ultimately my goal would be for us to take off. Because if we're being seen, then that means we're getting viewership, and then if we're being seen, we're getting that viewership. People want to see us, and that is obviously going to bring money. So I'm like, that would be the goal, to be seen. So therefore, we should be a business, like, you know. So that's kind of the optimistic mindset that I would have, you know. So
yeah, okay, yeah, I think we do work well together, and again, for the way that I am, Johnnie is probably a good balance to the A-type personality that I do have, because I am, you know, constantly, though I make this a hobby, I love the process, and I want to make sure that we win. So, you know, when I'm texting Johnnie at 1, 2 in the morning, you know, we're trying to figure out, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Sometimes Johnnie is asleep. You know, but he should be asleep. It's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Right. It's not normal, you know. But the way that my mind works, I'm constantly going, you know. But again, some of the traits that Johnnie has, as far as like always being positive, are things that I probably need to you know, work on too. It's just, you know, but I'm realistic, you know, when it comes to people, when it comes to partnering. You know, but it is what it is. Johnnie has done a good job in staying consistent, so I can definitely appreciate that from a partnership standpoint. So, what else about YouTube?
This is like what we learned on YouTube, what we learned about each other, right. Like how things are moving. I mean, but I think that's pretty much it, man. I think that, you know, we looked at YouTube and we're working it. You know, we're on the grind and just kind of showing you, like, man, it's not easy, but, you know, we're gonna push through and make some things happen, man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what are your thoughts? You know, there's a lot of people out here trying to be content creators, and again, it's tough, especially if you're trying to be successful in this space. So, what do you think? Do you think this is something that most people can do? Do you feel like it's probably more work than a 9 to 5? You got our tech sense on it, so we just want to hear yours. So, this is Just My Tech Sense. I'm Will Tech.
Johnnie Tech.
I'll talk to y'all.